Hey guys, what is up? This is Mr. A. Crizzy here, and in tonight's movie review, I'm going to be doing a movie review on the 2015 Happy Madison movie on Netflix. And this was also Happy Madison's first movie with Netflix after Pixels became their last theatrically released movie in 2015. This Happy Madison movie came out on December 11th of 2015 and was also Netflix's first movie with Happy Madison. And of course, that's going to be on The Ridiculous Six. The Ridiculous Six stars Adam Sandler and Terry Crews, George Garcia, Taylor Lautner, Rob Schneider, and Luke Wilson. And so in this movie, the plot actually follows like six men who discover that they share the same bank robbing father, played by Nick Nolte, and therefore they basically all go out and set out to reunite with him. And of course, we get like a bunch of crazy shenanigans and crazy humor here and there throughout this movie. And of course, this is also like Adam Sandler and Happy Madison's first Western movie. It's basically played out as like a Western action comedy movie. And like I said, this is Happy Madison's first movie with Netflix. So I just got done watching the whole movie on Netflix not long ago today and tonight. And despite the fact that this movie actually has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, like not a single critic gave this movie a positive review. Like despite the fact that this movie has 0%, and I think a lot of people out there really despise this movie, The Ridiculous Six. But I've seen some of my Facebook friends and like a little bit of my friends on social media, like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Like some of them actually didn't really mind it. Like one of my Facebook friends even mentioned one of their favorite scenes from the Ridiculous Six, and it's like they thought it was kind of funny. And while the humor is kind of hit or miss in this movie, the humor can be like funny. It's sometimes it's disgusting because yes, that's right, guys. The Ridiculous Six has gross out humor because there's a gross out humor here and there's also like poop humor as well because I think there were some parts where I think there was like the horse or like a donkey of some sort. The donkey actually takes a crap and like a really huge crap, and yeah, to be honest, guys, that was pretty gross. Yeah, that was disgusting. That explains that the humor in this movie is hit or miss. It can be funny at sometimes, while at the same time, for The Ridiculous Six, at the same time, it gets really gross, because, like I said, there is some poop humor, and, and like, yeah. And I can see why a lot of people don't really like that. But hey, there was some poop humor in 8 Crazy Nights, and I didn't really mind that much. But here, I kind of minded it, but here, it didn't really work out. And that's probably one of my main problems I have with The Ridiculous Six. And sure, yeah, the story does get a little cliched at most parts in terms of like a Western movie, because given the fact that I really like Western movies, like I've seen a little bit of Western films, like I've seen The Train Robbers, which used to be one of my favorite movies, but one good thing I have with this movie is that this movie did have a very good cast, like George Garcia, because I think he was on like that show Lost. He was also on that show Once Upon a Time as well. And Adam Sandler, I mean, it's got like an all-star cast, including Terry Crews and Taylor Lautner, who was also in Grown Ups 2. And yes, he played like, and of course we know Taylor Lautner was in the Twilight movies, but I didn't really like him in the Twilight movies. And of course, he was Shark Boy in The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. But yeah, Taylor Lautner, he was all right in this movie, and Rob Schneider and Luke Wilson. I mean, this movie did have a pretty good cast, and of course, I really do like the Happy Madison Productions logo variant at the beginning of The Ridiculous Six, where the golf ball actually ends up in like a Western part with a cliff in the background, and of course, it's actually more zoomed out than normal, and of course, the old man saying "terrific," he's actually wearing a cowboy hat. Yeah. And of course, the music score was actually composed by Rupert Gregson Williams. I think Rupert Gregson Williams has composed music scores to many of Adam Sandler's movies in the 2000s. And for The Ridiculous Six being Happy Madison's first movie with Netflix, I can say this was probably like a decent start to like Happy Madison's turn with Netflix. Because that same year in 2015, I only saw 2 Happy Madison movies in theaters, like I think I mentioned before. It's like I saw Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, which I didn't really hate Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. I think it's just a guilty pleasure of mine. The first Paul Blart Mall Cop was better. And I also saw Pixels in the theaters too. And, yeah. And as for The Ridiculous Six, it's just an okay movie. It could have been worse, but I've seen worse from Happy Madison. Like, like 3 of Happy Madison's worst movies I would consider would definitely be Jack and Jill, That's My Boy, and Bucky Larson, Born to Be a Star. Even though Adam Sandler's not in Bucky Larson, Born to Be a Star, I think he actually produced and wrote it, I think. Yeah. But yeah, so... And of course, like, the story itself of The Ridiculous Six, it got a little cliched at some parts, and it did get boring in most parts as well. And that's kind of like, that's another one of my problems with The Ridiculous Six, because not only the poop humor, but also in terms of the pacing of its story, and plus the movie's is only 2 hours long. That's it. And but I can still see why most people out there like did not really like this movie, and I can see why it got like a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. But you know what? I don't care, because we're all entitled to our own opinions on certain movies, and yeah, all opinion based. And this is exactly why I have a personal friend of mine who's basically a huge Happy Madison fan, which I've already told you guys about this in my previous videos, because and by the time he comes to this video and sees my thoughts on The Ridiculous Six, some of you guys a little bit of you guys might see who I'm talking about. So yeah, because it's like he only comes up when I'm reviewing Happy Madison or Adam Sandler movies, or Pixar movies, and you guys probably know who that is if you know who I'm talking about. Like, we saw Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Lightyear together, but that's all. That obviously that's not saying much in terms of being on topic to this video. But yeah, so aside from all that, overall, The Ridiculous Six was just an okay movie. I didn't really hate it though. It's just, it could have been worse, but whatever. So overall, Ridiculous Six was an okay movie, and I'm gonna give The Ridiculous Six 3 out of 5 stars. And there you have it, guys. That's gonna be it for my movie review on The Ridiculous Six. And that's gonna be it for this video, so make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, this is Mr. A. Crizzy saying, goodbye everybody, and that's about it.